Hello there and welcome to Third Eye Africa TV. We are reaching you from Central Business District in Abuja. My name is Ben Adam Shaman and we want to again talk politics because the program is all about politics, democracy in action. Now the governing party in Nigeria is in the midst of it all. It is organizing its national convention here in Abuja. And the party appears to be the first to so organize its own. Others are still trailing: PDP, Labour Party, ADC, and many more. And in as much as they continue to do their conventions, we shall be discussing them. But today we feel that we should discuss APC. Now, many other political parties tend to have aspirants who intend to be candidates, the standard of flag bearers, for the election come 2027. How will it look like the case of APC? Some people are saying adopt just one candidate, and that will be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But if not, who really is contesting against him in that party? We've not seen. Neither are we seeing what we call aspirants in PDP. Where are they? But when it comes to African Democratic Congress, you begin to see the likes of Rotimi Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, and many more. All of these are gunning for one seat, that of the President of Nigeria. Who will that be? But that can only be if conventions are conducted and if aspirants become candidates. And that is what APC is all about today. We have a sociologist, a political analyst, and how do I call him again? Expert on gender matters. I want to welcome Associate Professor Temitope Peters Adeyanju of the University of Abuja. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And
Uncle, good afternoon to the audience. It's a pleasure to be here.
yes, coming here was not easy because the convention was in tight security. You meander here, they've blocked. You meander there, they've blocked, and all that. Is that how we're going to defend democracy in Nigeria?
To a very large extent. Again, it's a pleasure to all our audience at home and to our esteemed audience. This is a very great opportunity to interact with us on issues that has to do with national development. Again, when we have tight security everywhere, it's just to assure the citizens that, again, the government is doing the best they can. And to a very large extent, these are the same things we will expect from the same government in managing every sub-part of the Nigerian system. That security of life should be there, security of jobs should be there, security of food should be there, and security virtually in every sub-part of the Nigerian system. Thank you very much.
Yes, looking at past conventions, 1999 and 2003, and up to that, some other conventions, Eagle Square was always agog with people coming from all corners of Nigeria to sell all manner of things: clothes, food, political insignias, pamphlets here and there. But we can see that today, people are rather being chased away. Is there something wrong with our democracy?
Again, to our esteemed audience, these are just what individuals have observed. Like again, from 1999 to 2003, successive political parties have ruled Nigeria, from the People's Democratic Party, the APC, and today we have the PDP, today now we have the APC. Again, it's just to share with us that we have different leaders with different leadership style, and each of their, members, or what we refer to as their different political office holders in the area of individuals saddled with responsibilities. Now you realize that each of them attempts to, exercise or exhibit or attempts to display a level of commitment or loyalty to the leadership. So in doing that, they attempt to do it, in different ways. If, for instance, in the past we have individuals who will allow people to come around and buy and sell, and today maybe for the prevailing security issues, they will rather restrict, to a very large extent from, a perimeter distance away from the venue, avoiding people to come and buy and sell just for security purposes. Now, these are perspectives. Again, we could integrate other variables. Could they also mean that there are economic variables we can also, discuss with? Does that mean that the financial or the purchasing power of the people no longer enables them to carry out some of these businesses? Anyway, as we make more progress, we'll be discussing some of this in-depthly. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. Now, if you also look at it, the security you're talking about. Now, let us expand the scope now. We are no longer limiting ourselves as to what is happening at the convention venue. And now let's look at Nigeria in general. How will you say APC or the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has fared when it comes to handling security or insecurity in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Anko. Again, we cannot deny certain facts that in addressing Nigerian issue, we must understand the uniqueness of Nigeria. Nigeria is a complex state, is a complex nation, is a multi-ethnic nation, is a multi-religious nation. And if you look at those diversity, these are bases and these are indicators upon which we can begin to discuss some issues of national interest. Looking at the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, without whipping sentiment, again, he has over the years, successively handled leadership. He has been once in the Senate, right? If you look at the evolution of the Nigerian political system, from 1960, the First Republic, the Second Republic, to the Third Republic that was aborted in June 12, 1993, where he actually assumed the senatorial position. And today we're in the Fourth Republic. Again, he has been a governor in the Fourth Republic from 1999 to 2003, 2007. He has displayed a level of leadership. And today now, he is saddled with the responsibility of the president of Nigeria. So we are looking at how has he performed? How has he really, impacted lives of citizens? To a very large extent, it would be right for me to say that to the best of his ability, he has actually, performed economically wise. He has done the best he can. And then in terms of every other sub-part of the Nigerian system, security-wise, to the best of his ability again, he has performed the best he can. And then education-wise, health-wise, that is, I repeat, and let it be that everyone understand the basis for which I'm presenting this, to the best of his ability. So each of us may have different views or perspectives or expectations, but within his own ability, he has done the best he can. Again, it's not that easy to sustain Nigerian unity. And if you look at the fact that since he assumed responsibility, Nigeria is still united, that's a good performance for me. But again, if we now begin to say, can we set basis for our analysis? In other words, what has been the economic situation of Nigeria before now? The education, the health, and every other sub-part security in relation to what it is today, and then considering his best ability? Are we going to say that he has done well? I think as we make more progress, I'll be very much interested if we begin to look at data analysis so that we can, even as audience, be involved in his assessment so that we can all see of a truth he has done well or he hasn't done well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but when you also look at it, one is worried. It's like this, the way soldiers are being killed, you know. You also look at communities, attacks here and there. Look at Kwara, look at Kaduna State, look at Plateau, Benue, I mean, Meduguri, I mean, even bomb blasts that were not hurt. I mean, the thing had subsided. People thought it was all over. But suddenly there's that resurgence of these attacks. I mean, looking at it at your own crystal ball, what do you think actually is wrong?
Thank you very much, Uncle. Again, to our esteemed audience at home. Now, these are facts and exactly what we're asking everyone to be involved in, evaluating. Now, the resurgence of bomb blast in Borno State tells us that there is a security lapses, and better still, there is a form of security, I would best put it this way, a security deficiency. And it's true, we shouldn't shy away from saying what it is. We cannot deny the fact that the security is doing the best that they can, from the Chief of Army Staff to the Chief of Naval Staff to the Chief of Air Force and to the Defense Minister to the NSC to the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, and all of the security arsenals. You see, that synergy should have actually, proactively, possibly impede or not allow that to actually occur. But for the fact that it actually occurred, it's actually a security lapses. And I think at this point, we will then say to the government, if that had happened, there shouldn't be another occurrence. The second one should never be. The third should never be, and it will never be. And this is our expectations as citizens. The government, by social contract, is holding, leadership in trust, and it's doing that to protect us. That is the service required from them. And they should do all within their strength to ensure that there is security for every citizen, regardless of race, regardless of color, regardless of religion or tribe. Everyone should benefit from the security in Nigeria, security of life, security of property. And by so doing, we're then going to say that the government has done well. Now, when we have, any form of lapses as citizens, we can hold them accountable, and that's what exactly we're trying to do. We're trying to ventilate, we're trying to make more meaning in the public space so that they also can be informed, they can hear this and know that there is a lapses. And whatever it is for them to actually go back again to the drawing board, address it, identify those lapses, and then, solve them, remove them, and avoid the reoccurrence of such incidences. Thank you very much, my uncle.
And so, when if you look at sector by sector, a kind of, in terms of food security, when this president was campaigning, at the point, he said there will be agbado. Agbado in Yoruba, I'm told, is maize. There will be yam in abundance. And he kept on saying all of this. So by your own assessment, in terms of food security, generally, not just yam, not just maize, is Nigeria secured?
Thank you very much. To our esteemed audience, now when we talk about food security, we're only saying that the purchasing power, that's the definition, that's the interpretation, that the purchasing power in Nigeria will be such that an average Nigerian should be able to, on a daily basis, buy food that he or she can eat. In other words, be able to eat 3 square meals, balanced square meal, balanced diet, for morning, afternoon, and evening. And then we're also referring to food security in the context of knowledge to mean that Nigeria is also producing sufficient enough to feed ourselves as a nation. And these are the founding fathers' vision, that Nigeria will be a land that is full of opportunities for all our citizens, that Nigeria will be united, that there will be economic, blessings for Nigeria. So as it is today, yes, the president, it's very possible that maybe he underestimated, the multifaceted nature of the problems in Nigeria. There are myriads of them. And possibly we could also assume that he did not do much of his economic analysis, possibly when he said that. But that actually defines the fact that maybe he has good intentions, that when he assumes the president's role, he will be able to encourage Nigeria, that Nigeria will be able to produce enough to feed herself and then export. And actually a nation that is not able to produce, to feed herself, feed her citizens, that actually relies more on imports, such a nation is going to have economic deficiency, is going to have economic problems. So again, that was his initial assumption. And as it is today, like in leadership, this is my own submission. There is no room for excuses. The moment you assume leadership, you are assuming responsibility. And the moment you assume leadership, you should also be accountable. And at this point, it's very needful that the president knows, far beyond his cabinet members. In getting facts, you go beyond your cabinet members. You need citizens' voice. You need to hear them speak to you. You need to pay attention to what all the social medias, all the televisions, and all the national dailies are saying. Acquaint yourself with them. Get the feedback. Get the pulsation of the citizens. So as it is today, when we talk about ability to be food sufficient, to be food secure, we are yet to get there. We're not there yet because the issue of price mechanism also comes in. When we talk about the purchasing power and the cost of food at the beginning of a season or at the beginning of a year, and as the year progresses, there shouldn't be much deviation. There should be that stability, but those things are not there. So that calls for more, duty from the side of the president and the members of his cabinet. Thank you very much.
And the cabinet too. When you look at the problem, students being churned out from the universities. Those going for National Youth Service, those finishing NYSC or National Youth Service Corps, and you look at those from the Polytechnic, Colleges of Education, the monotechnics, just very many, in millions, every year that they are churned out. At that point, you hear that some of them are not employable. It's not as if they don't have good degrees, but they are not employable. So what therefore can the university system, the education system, the Ministry of Education, the Polytechnic, what can be brought on the table to ensure that, look, you go to school, become wise, but there's a way you create wealth. How can that change?
Thank you very much, Anko, and to all our viewers and listeners from every part of the world. These are important topics for any nation that sincerely and truly wants to really develop healthily. These are things we should be discussing. I have over the years argued that for we having this number of universities, this number of polytechnics, monotechnics, colleges of education, and we should be able to solve virtually 98% of our national problems. We have professors, we have academics, all of these persons are well equipped. They are sufficient to address those problems. But I've also submitted this way. There is a serious gap between the policymakers, policy implementers, and the research-based institutions. For instance, all the products in terms of research outputs from all the colleges of education, from the monotechnics and polytechnics and universities, the question is, are they being used? Are this research being used? The knowledge that we gain from there, are they being used? Are they being, deployed into the system? You see, there is the contextualization of knowledge. You see, the technology that works in some of these Western nations, may not work here. So that is the beauty of the knowledge we have here. So again, there is a disconnection. So that disconnection must be, well utilized, must be, explored, must be exploited to our own advantage. Let me explain this in a clearer way that everyone understands better. In solving Nigerian problems, we do not need experts from any part of the other world to solve our problems. We should demand all our professors to solve our problems. You should give responsibilities to all the universities, all the polytechnics, all the monotechnics, and colleges of education to solve these problems. Now, you cannot deny another fundamental fact. If UNESCO recommends that 25% of national budget should be allocated to education, and in Nigeria, we should go back and ask the question, what is the budget and what is the percentage of the budget for education? It's far below 20%. If you take it from successive governments in Nigeria, from the military down to the civilian government, you will observe that even the civilian government is not doing better. And the expectation is high. Funding education is important. And funding research is important. So what we're actually saying is, are those products employable? The answer is, what is the value we attach to education? What is the budget for education? And in so, we will answer it appropriately by saying that, one, the budget for education is very low. Government must increase the budget for education. Number two, if you go to the schools, do we have the requisite facilities to truly equip and train these products, these graduates for the contemporary society, for the labor market? Now, the teachers in the universities, in polytechnics, in colleges of education, cannot use their blood to teach on the board. Do we have the marker boards? In the case where you talk about replacing the chalkboard with marker boards, do we now expect these teachers to use their blood to teach on the marker board? The answer is no. When it comes to research, both those in medical professional programs, medicine, engineering, agriculture, veterinary medicine, education, and all of that, do we have the requisite facilities to train these products? The answer is still no. We are grossly deficient. Go and check the hostels for the students. There is still a deficiency there. The classroom. Of course, when we talk about the basis for accrediting courses in universities, in colleges of education, in polytechnics, of course, you look at the teacher to student ratio. Do we have office facilities for the lecturers? Of course, it's grossly deficient. When we talk about the lecture rooms, are there sufficient lecture rooms? I can categorically say there is no university in Nigeria today that can boastfully say they have all they need in terms of lecture rooms for the number of students that they have in their campuses. So in relation to the question asked, the product we're chunking out for the labor market, in honesty, they may not be readily available in terms of giving the requisite knowledge required, but that is not to undermine certain facts. That in terms of theoretical knowledge, Nigerian products are outstandingly great. We're doing the very best. As lecturers, we're doing the very best, and our students are doing under a very difficult condition, harsh condition. These students are still doing their very best. That does not also, eliminate the fact that we must go back again and begin to think about producing students who are seeking for white-collar job to students when they graduate becomes employers of labor. So it talks about entrepreneurial skill, vocational skills should be integrated into our curriculum so that our students not only become seekers of job, but producers of job. Thank you very much.
Actually, I asked this bearing in mind that if you look at the heat, when I talk of the environment now, the heat that is on, one would have expected that some colleges of, polytechnics and universities, you see, we cannot even produce torchlights. We bring it from China. Now we're talking about some inverters, we're talking about solar panels here and there. They're bringing them from China. And you see, from research centers, they are also even importing when they should be making some of these things. One is worried. Aren't you worried?
Thank you very much, Uncle. I'm worried. And in honesty, the president of Nigeria is worried. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is worried. And all members of his cabinet, the vice president, is worried. That is Alhaji Shettima, is worried. And all the governors are worried. And I will explain it this way. None of them can categorically say that they are happy. Because, for instance, how many of them can joyfully and gladly say that they can go into any of the health facility, be it primary health facility, secondary health facility, or tertiary health facility for medical services? They would rather go, or we'll talk about medical tourism. They would rather go on medical tourism, even to buy ordinary PCM, paracetamol, or what you call acetaminophen. The ideal is that we should demand, and they themselves should also do same. They should patronize our health facilities. They should patronize our schools. Send their children. There should be a law to that effect. Your children must attend public primary schools, public secondary schools, and public tertiary institutions. I'm a product of public primary school, a product of public secondary school, and a product of public tertiary institution. And I stand here to say categorically that I can compete favorably with any of my counterparts from any part of the world. And I've said it this way, the largest number of teachers are in public institutions, public primary schools, public secondary schools, and public tertiary institutions. None of the private institutions can boldly say they have the capacity of what we have in public institutions. So the question is, why are we not able to produce torchlight, to produce battery? Okay? Hello, fellow Nigerians and most esteemed Nigerians, great Nigerians, both the scholars and the non-elites of all category, okay, by stratification, the low class, the middle class, and those in the high class. Let me say it this way. Nigeria is so greatly blessed, I can say it categorically, blessed than any nation in the world, than any country in the world. We have abundance of natural resources. Why is the Ajaokuta Steel Company not working? Don't we have the facility? We have enough. Okay, let's go back and work on the extractive industries. This is just simply to say, you can't jettison the conspiracy theory. Are we also saying that the international nations are also interested in further, denying us a balanced development so that we can perpetually remain dependent, so that we can continue to import, so that we can continually remain a colony, being colonized, the concept of neocolonialism? Of course, this is another form of colonization, denying us the right to grow in a balanced way. I have so many concepts to bring on board for discussion, maybe not for today, but let me categorically say that we have every capacity. We have the human ingenuity. We have the intellectuals. Most of our scholars in Nigeria rules the world, and I say it with all sense of integrity. Mention the best brains in the whole of the world, from number 1 to 10. You will see a Nigerian. The head of today, the WTO, World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, she is a Nigerian. We have many Nigerians that have broken many international records. We are more than able. We are so great a citizen, great people. And today, what are we saying? Brain drain. Of course, one of the things today is beyond Japa now is Japada. Yes, when you say Jakpada, what are we coming back to meet on board? Okay, how healthy is the environment? Does it allow for favorable competitive growth where we can grow healthily? So again, we cannot say we can't produce battery. We can. I remember the concept of electrolytes in chemistry. And I know the electrolytic cells. I remember the primary cell, the Leclanché cell, and then the secondary cell, the electrodes and the electrolytes, and I know how to conduct. It's not as if we can't do these things. It's not as if we don't know them. We know them. When we come to physics, electricity, it's not as if we can't do it. But we are so solidly informed theoretically. But because we don't have all the practical materials, how many of the students today who are preparing for WAEC, do they have the facility? Well, of course, in physics, it's just three things: electricity, mechanics, and then beyond mechanics, that is motion, and then electricity, and then you ask the question again, do we have the facility for electricity? They are not there, in honesty. Okay. For motion, for mechanics, they are not there. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, we are discussing this, situating with the National Convention of the governing party in Nigeria, the All Progressives Congress. And of course, one of our reporters went to town to find out, especially from delegates, what they think of this convention. Let us hear them as they talk.
Well, as you can see, APC is preparing convention that will help place today here in Abuja, because from all indication you will realize that these people don't have the capacity or don't have the structure that will rescue Nigeria for what the country is going through. If you can see, they are going to appointed their caretakers. The one who serve in the party, they trying to bring new ones that will take over the party, because this is how they used to run their government. They don't have structure to help the nation. They don't have a quality leadership that will drive this nation to right forward. And what they are doing here, it basically indicates what they are doing to the nation. If you can realize, they just appoint this, they do that. In the country where we are almost 200 plus 40 million Nigerians, they come and put on tax to the people. They are taxing. And if they are collecting tax, they don't even show a concrete and genuine thing that will say it drive this country to the next level. They remove fuel subsidy. All this money that gathered, they used to be given to the governors, and we are not seeing anything on the ground as a citizen of this country. So I think APC don't have any plan. They don't have any picture to the Nigerian nation. Please, I'm advising my Nigerian youth to come out massively to make sure they clean their butt and throw this government out of the power. Thank you very much. Thank you for your...
And the APC convention, just like any other party convention, now it's supposed to be where it organizes itself, look back as to what its achievements are, elect national officers or whatever offices they are within this system that they have not elected. So generally, basically, that's where what the convention is supposed to be about, where all of the states gather. You remember there are state convention, there are world convention. So this was a national convention where all of the matters, activities, agenda of the APC would have been discussed.
Sir, we've been seeing this convention for years.
Yes.
Do you think this coming leader will be different from the past leaders, and we have not seen much result in them?
Speaking from my perspective as a lawyer, you know that there's been this criticism that most times elections end up in courts more than they are the democratic process. So the convention is supposed to be where decisions are taken. And you know, most of the decisions taken in the convention are in the context of votes and nominations or ward votes or whatever way is the political party's constitution says concerning decisions of the party. So within that convention, whatever they think is their problem, whatever, like in some cases now, I think contemporaneous to the APC's convention, we also had the PDP convention, where they were thinking about reconciliation with members who have left and what to see how they can bring them in, setting up committees to see how they can lure these people back or to see how they can retain those people who have not made the decision to leave the political party at the moment of the convention. So it's like a strategizing fora. Because beyond the party, each person upon election is supposed to represent the constituents, generally from all parties. But within the convention, they speak as political men. This is where they are able to tell themselves home truths. If there's something you've done to me as a political party man which you think was wrong, we can reconcile. And within the party structure, as a family, not as a party that is aspiring to rule. You know that there's a distinction or difference between a political party and a pressure group. The whole aim or the sole aim is that of seeing to how they can organize society and gain power, whereas a pressure group is just to further a particular aim. And so within the political party, whatever they are doing is to ensure that they stand, for instance, they are now the ruling party, so that they don't degenerate to something else, maybe they are defeated and so on and so forth. So basically that's what a convention is supposed to serve within a democratic structure.
Well, those are Nigerians. They are speaking about the convention. Of course, they are members of the governing party. But this time around, we'll just go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking the president has decided, the State House is no longer linked to the national grid. They have nothing to do with NEPA or Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, as it were. And the National Assembly is also thinking likewise. So, in terms of electricity supply, power supply in Nigeria, is the party doing so much? If yes, why is the government, why is the president, removing the State House from the national grid? We'll come to all of that. My name is Ben Adam Sheman, and our guest has been Adeyanju Peters. We want to thank you for still remaining with us.
Each week, one program. The most gripping crimes, the stories you won't forget. Crimes of the week on Third Eye Africa TV. We give you stories as it was reported. Stories from the Nigerian police, the NDLEA, NAPTIP, the EFCC, NAFDAC, and the ICPC. My name is Margaret Adewale. Watch Crimes of the Week only on Third Eye Africa TV every Sunday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Star Times, channel 146. Join us.
Welcome back. Now, we have witnessed, and we are still witnessing, the convention of the APC. And one thing that Nigerians are crying and accusing the party of is their inability to give electricity to Nigerians. The Minister of Power, who is now gunning, he's trying to be the governor of Oyo State, came the other day telling Nigerians, sorry, government cannot provide electricity. Wait again for the next 14 days. We are still counting. So the presidency, in its own wisdom, decided to remove the State House, the seat of power, from the national grid. They are into solar that is imported, foreign exchange gone, heart and currency of Nigeria gone abroad. So, what is the president telling us? Is it that he doesn't have confidence in the Nigerian economy, in Nigerian power again? What do you think?
Thank you very much. Again, back to every citizen's opinion. Every citizen is at liberty to express their opinion, And for those of us, again, in the studio here, we're only trying to say that these are observations that the president needs to take to heart and act fast and act more decisively. Again, his actions speaks louder than voice. And his actions and his inactions are the things that citizens attempt to interpret when they observe and, make certain deductions upon which they take decisions. Again, it will not be right to say. We can't forget late Yar'Adua, Musa Yar'Adua, when he actually initially was saying that even the State House must get its source of light from the national grid. Of course, it was known that it's an established fact.
That should be Umaru Yar'Adua.
Yeah, Umaru Yar'Adua.
Because the senior is the Musa.
Okay, excellent. Umaru Yar'Adua. Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, that's the senior, then Umaru Yar'Adua. So the idea is that you can see a leader with the heart of a leader that truly wants a nation to grow. Identifying with the people, saying, I want to also feel what you feel. So let's see how the national grid works. So for the president to decide not to, be connected to the national grid and seek for an alternative source of electricity for the State House, it's actually in honesty. It's simply defined and simply explained. He no longer has confidence in the people he has assigned responsibility to.
So why are they not sacked?
Again, that is leadership. That is leadership. In leadership, we have different leadership styles. All right? You have the laissez-faire leadership style. You have what you refer to as the democratic leadership style, the autocratic or the totalitarian or the Naxian leadership style. You also have the transformational leadership style. You have the transactional leadership style. You have the servant leadership style. There are so many of them. Even if you come to look at the managerial grid model, okay, by Vroom and others, there are different leadership styles.
So which one is Tinubu adopting?
In honesty, I think if I'm allowed, we have different features and characteristics of this leadership style. It would not be too right for me to, choose a leadership style for him, but it's actually an opportunity for him to assess himself. Yes, leaders must be responsible to the citizens, must be accountable. It is a fact, he knows it. There's been national grid collapse. Not once, not twice, not thrice, more than 4 or 5 times. It's actually calling for a total overhaul. It demands a national, it should necessitate for that, a national emergency. You can declare a national emergency on electricity and focus on that. You see, if there is electricity for all Nigerians, our productive level will increase, our output will increase, our internally generated revenues, our generated revenues will increase. We will become the best nation in Africa and the best nation in the world. All we are asking the government to do for citizens, make the environment healthy. Let there be constant supply of electricity. Let there be constant supply of water. Let there be, security for every citizen in the farm, everywhere. So again, in relation to the question asked, the government today, the president today have actually displayed a level of, a level of uncertainty. And that's what we can see. That's what we can see. And that's what the leaders have demonstrated, because we do not expect that it will be that if it is, that the national grid is disconnected, or the villa or the State House, the Aso Rock is disconnected from the national grid, and an alternative supply of electricity is being provided for them, then that's very wrong, And that's what Karl Marx is saying. There shouldn't be that class. He's arguing for a classless society where either you're in the low class, the middle, or the higher class. Those should be that there should be natural benefit for everyone. You can easily grow and then enjoy the benefit of being a citizen. Thank you very much.
Yes. So the last question, in terms of setting an agenda for APC, let's say you are a Nigerian, and of course you go to the market and you know what it entails. You also know that the crisis in the Middle East is not helping Nigerians. It's a global impact. It has a global impact. So if you were to set an agenda for APC, that Nigerian, that poor of the poor Nigerian, should just come out from the woods, what will be your agenda in brief?
Thank you very much. I will make reference to the founding fathers' vision in Nigeria. And I usually, of course, my students will remember the formula I used to give them. FJUGL. You know, you have jog, J-U-G in bracket, then you have F before and the L. You see, our founding fathers believed that Nigeria should be free and democratic. The J, just and egalitarian. U, united, strong, and self-reliant. And then the G, great and dynamic economy. And then the L, a land that is full of opportunities for all as citizens. That's the 5 national goals for those of us who are educationists, who are teachers. I'm an educationist, I'm a teacher, and I love to be a teacher. Again, setting the agenda for the president, that should be, you know, the derivatives. That should be things you can derive certain products from. All right? Number 1, economy should be such that it is great and dynamic. The economy should work, education should work, all right? A better life for teachers at all levels, primary school teachers, secondary school, and the tertiary institutions. And the students in school should be protected. Security for all our schools. That should be the focus, that should be the agenda. And electricity supply, water supply. And far beyond that, we're thinking about a society where there is love and there is unity. We're praying for our leaders. We love you, our leaders and citizens. Please understand, our leaders are from us. So I am those scholars who believe that our problem is not leadership, it's followership. We have followership problem. We must address followership problem in order to address leadership problem. All right, and that could be for another day because there is a nexus, a relationship between followership, leadership, and institution. The institution must work. The institution, and that should be the focus. In 2027, all those who assume leadership should ensure that institutions in Nigeria work. All. The judiciary must work, and they must be free from corruption and every form of biases or prejudice. Thank you.
So, now, APC, you've had it, and the Associate Prof has given you an agenda, a working guide. Provide for the students, provide for the lecturers, provide security, provide food security, promote science and technology, and a whole lot more. So, we are waiting for APC. And it is here that we want to thank you, Dr. Peters Adeyanju, an Associate Professor, University of Abuja. I want to thank you for coming to Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. I appreciate our audience.
My name is Ben Adam Shemang, and like we say, we are proudly Nigerians. So you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
See you some other great times.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.